ever done outside of the studio system. It was like a proper independent, Andrew Eaton?
Yeah.
That was him.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Such a great
Ron's
film.
lovely, isn't he?
He's lovely.
Yeah,
He's just such a nice man.
Yeah.
But look, the list, Tim Burton, you've worked with so many. And I just kind of want to go back a little bit. When was acting growing up for you, when you were growing up in Ireland, was this always on the cards for you? Did you always want to be an actor?
No, I wanted to be a footballer. I wanted to be a
Did
soccer
you?
player. Yeah.
Were you good?
I was handy enough.
What position did you play?
I actually was all over the place. I really was in sport and in life in general in subsequent years. But my father played professionally, and he played for Shamrock Rovers back in the day, and he played the European Championship. He was part of the Shamrock Rovers team that beat Red Star Belgrade 5-1. He won the Irish View. He won the FAI, the Football Association of Ireland Cup, a couple of times. He represented Ireland at a schoolboy level. I have his Irish shirt that he played in. So it was very much a part of my life, football growing up. But it was the way in which my father and I could have a communication and a relationship. It was tricky everywhere else, but when it came to football, we were good to go, and we could play. And he coached the team I played for until I was about 13 or 14. But then I started drinking and smoking and all that stuff, and then it fell by the wayside. And my sister went to theatre school. She went to drama school.
Okay.
My oldest sister, Catherine, and it was the first time in my life when I heard that she was going to quote unquote study acting. It sounded ridiculous. What do you mean study acting? I didn't think it was something that you could apply yourself to within a formal structure and actually, pay attention to the idea of a craft and learn breathing techniques and etc. So her adventure into that world was kind of my first exposure to the idea that it was a possibility. But I always loved film, and I always loved the escapism of film, and I learned so much about what it is, I think, as people do if they give themselves over to the film experience. We really do learn a lot, I certainly have, about what it is to be a human being. Because our own experience is limited to our own experience, and thereby it's limited to whatever the environment is we grow up in, and it's limited to the traumas and the hopes of the people that raise us, and so it can be quite a limiting experience being human. That's why it's great when you hear like 17 or 18-year-olds, decide to take a year off before they go to college and travel in the world. It's extraordinary fun, yes, but it's actually really profound as well, because they get out into the world and they see how other people live, and they see how other people respond to the idea of community and society, and they just get to spread their wings. So in that kind of way, I feel that film is an opportunity for us to kind of have a cultural gaze into another time and place, and literally by virtue of our own ability to connect to the visual image and to the audio experience, we can have an experience that we wouldn't be able to have otherwise. Not saying I got all that from Indiana Jones, which was, of course, my early fodder with Indiana Jones and George Lucas and Robert Zemeckis, and Back to the Future is still a perfect piece of cinema, American cinema as far as I'm concerned. But years later then, I was introduced to films of Wim Wenders or Wong Kar-wai a little bit, and I started to, Mike Lee, I'll never forget seeing Naked with David Thewlis, and what David Thewlis did in Naked just actually shook me to my core. So it was later on I started to branch out into, some independent films and some more kind of nuanced, human behaviorally nuanced pieces as well. But I got this thing last night, and Golden I come, and I was talking about like what a joy it is, and what it seems ridiculous to get any award ever, because the work is such an reward and award in itself. It really is. I'm doing it for 25 years, and I can't say I know a single thing more than I knew 25 years ago. Because it's because it's always, the human experience as an expression of creation is so infinitely fascinating, and it's endlessly perturbing and confusing and heartening at times, and hope building, but then also devastating. But every single person, it's like the human fingerprint there's no two the same, 8 billion people, but it's like the fingerprint is just a physical manifestation of the fact that there are no two people who are exactly the same behaviorally, who think the same about things, who respond the same to things. It's So, you know, there's no such thing as truly, I mean, there's no reason we should ever repeat ourselves
Well,
in film.
you haven't really in your